Have you ever seen someone that you like just immediately? I have a regular spot that I frequent, and last year I started seeing this guy, and it was like he was just so different, and he stood out from like everybody, it seems to me. But I developed this very strong attraction to him. So I would see him, and he wouldn't always be by himself. So I'm like, of course he's taken. Why wouldn't he be taken? So eventually, over time, I would see him, and I wouldn't see him with anybody. So you know how I wait and wait, and I watch and I watch and I wait and I watch and I wait and I watch. Still not seeing him with anybody. And I'm like, how does a girl find out if he's single? And how does a girl find out if he's even interested at all? So time passed, and I wish I still had the dates, but I don't, because I've deleted them since, but the conversations have gone. But so eventually, I shot my shot. So, and I know it's like a big taboo, like, I know women feel differently about shooting their shot. Like, should we be the first ones to say that we like you, or we're interested, or I'm attracted to you, or any of those things? Or should we just wait and be approached, because men are natural hunters? So I pondered and I pondered and I pondered, and finally I got the nerve up after seeing him at the spot one night. I got the nerve up, and I sent him a friend request on Facebook. He accepted the friend request right away, and I was like, okay, I wonder if he knows who I am. Now, I can't remember if I shot my shot as soon as he accepted my friend request, or if I waited. I don't remember. So when I decided to shoot my shot, that's exactly what I did. So I had this long spiel about COVID and how people were losing people that they cared about, and everybody was going through so much, and time waits for no one. And basically, if you wanted something, you just have to go for it while you can without any regrets. And I basically told him I was shooting my shot, and I was interested and wanted to know if he wanted to hang out sometime, go out, that type of thing. And I don't remember exactly how the conversation progressed, but it did. It did progress. And I didn't handle it the way I should have, and which is my only regret. And I think to this day, I still think it is to that detriment. But anyway, so fast forward. So that had to have been in like, I want to say July of 2021. That sounds about right. Maybe mid-July. Yeah, because we went out of town. So maybe mid-July 2021. So anyway, so there had been a lot of off and on. Despite that, the times when we were actually together, those were awesome times. I mean, at least for me, I thought we had fun, communicated well. He would cook for me. I've been snowed in with him for 2 days, so I, of course, so let me back up. So I always say that there's always warning signs and before we get to the red lights, right? So you always have the yellow light warnings before you get to the red light. So there were things that were not happening that I voiced many times, and those things didn't change, right? So that was definitely my yellow light, right? So the red light came in September. The exact day was September 1st when I received a text message from him stating that whatever it was that we were doing, that he didn't want to do it anymore, right? So between July and that time, like I said, there had been some on and off, whether we be kicking it hard for a couple of weeks and then, he ghosts me. And I would wiggle my way back in, which is, when you think back on it, it's like, why did you put yourself through that? Why did you do this? Why did you do that? But anywho, so September 1st, I got the text message saying that he no longer wanted to continue doing whatever it was that we were doing. Okay. So September 2nd was the day that I decided to transform. I had to figure out a way to turn my pain into something positive, because admittedly I was hurt, because even in a short period of time I developed feelings for him, right? And I think it's partially because I had watched him for so long and I had this attraction that had built up for him over all this time. And so when I finally shot my shot, and then when he responded, and in my mind, it was something apparently that it wasn't, if that makes sense, right? So September 2nd, I decided I needed to find a way to transform this pain that I was feeling. It was just hurt feelings. It was somewhat of confusion. It was, I don't know, how you question yourself over and over again, and you go back and you think about moments that you might have spent with a person and the conversations you had, and then the moment you're in right now, and you're like, this shit do not match, right? So at the same time that I was going through that, I was taking my Lean Six Sigma Green Belt certification classes. So it got to a point in that class that I had to do a project. And my facilitator, my coach, called a meeting because she was in town. She doesn't live here. She was in town. She called a meeting. And this was the Saturday after all of that had happened, because September 1st was like in the middle of the week. So it's like on a Tuesday or Wednesday when I got that original text. So this was Saturday. So even Saturday, I was still going through it. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't resting. I was just still going through all these hurt feelings, right? So, that Saturday morning, they had no idea how much I needed that meeting, because in that meeting, we were, of course, going over our Green Belt certification information, but, it veered off into normal, regular conversations and sisterhood, and we were talking about God and faith and all of those things, and I needed that so much at that time. So, our leader, our coach, gave us a project. So the project, we were supposed to take 12 days and basically like concentrate on yourself. Right? You would pick a topic or whatnot, and for 12 days you had to log everything that you did, ate, whatever that was in relation to your topic. So for me, I basically did mine on kind of a self-care because I needed to find a way to rechannel some of the emotions that I was feeling and I had a friend that told me years ago to never to drink when I'm upset or sad. So even though I might have a cocktail, I might have a shot or something like that if I think I really need to help me sleep, and I did do that, but I didn't drink it away, if that makes sense. So I needed to find a way to like rechannel these emotions into something more positive. So what I did was I took my own advice that I give to people, and I started writing out some new affirmations and saying those things daily. I started listening to motivational talks on YouTube like every morning. So every morning I had a new routine. So I'd get up and I'd read something positive. I would do my affirmations. I would, read a new book or start reading new books, just things like that. And I also started working out. And in the process of all of this, I changed the way that I was eating, right? And I was walking and listening to audio tapes. I was doing all of this because I needed to feed my spirit. I needed to calm my heart. I needed to just redo me because, in some instances, if you don't find a way to revamp yourself, to revolve yourself, you could lose yourself to pain, to sadness. Because in some instances, not all, with sadness, it comes depression. And depression comes in all different forms. So I got through my 12 days of basically self-reflection and self-improvement and self-care. And even though it didn't take my mind off him, but it gave me different ways to deal with all the things that I was feeling. The confusion, the hurt, the sadness, the restlessness, all of that. And exercise helped. And I started TikTok. That's how my TikTok came to life. I started doing TikTok videos of my workouts. I started doing TikTok videos of some motivational talks that I was doing daily for 12 days. So I did all of that in 12 days. All of that pouring into myself that I just had to do. So, and with all of this and with all of that being said, the newest thing that I found out that was helping me was journaling. And I also wrote a poem. Now, the poem that I wrote, it wasn't a sad poem or anything like that. It was more a poem about putting everything into a nutshell. My attraction, the stepping to him, just what I thought about things positively. And I sent it to him. And he liked it, but he didn't like it. So he liked the fact that I wrote a poem, but didn't like the fact that I wrote a poem about him, which is understandable. Since then, I have put that poem into a book on Amazon, my little book of poems. So it is on Amazon and it is available. So September comes and goes. October comes and goes. And I'm still going through it. So I sent him a card for Thanksgiving in the mail. Just a Thanksgiving card. Just kind of let him know I was thinking about him. Nothing big, nothing special. And he contacted me because he was like, he saw me recently before that and I didn't speak to him. And I was like, that's not true. I spoke. But anyway, so December passed through and we get to January. Oh my God. So New Year's Eve, I was at the spot. And I'm trying to remember. He really hadn't been there, if I remember right. He had been coming there. So New Year's Eve, I was at the spot. And he was there. And I was family and friends were there. And we were fine. Talking, speaking, texting a little bit in the spot. Because originally I didn't stand up when he came over to say hello. And I didn't want him to think I was acting funny. And I was like, if you come back over, I can give you a better hug than I gave you. So we just little stuff like that. But it just seemed like he kept touching me. Like I was on the dance floor, he touched me. He walked past me, touched my elbow. Transfer of energy, people. And I've already shared energy with this man. He kept touching me. I had been drinking. I know he had been drinking. So eventually one thing led to another and we kind of started seeing each other again until February 13th was the last time that I saw him, touched him, and vice versa. February 13th, 2022. So this time of him ghosting me wasn't any better on my end. I think I started paying attention more to the yellow warnings and the red flags that I had been ignoring since the year before. But I still wanted him, just to be honest. I did. So, and just today, I found out through social media that he is actually engaged. Yeah. So that hit different. I'm not even going to go into that. So last year, when I was going through everything that happened in September, so between September and December, between me going through all of my self-care, my self-development, all the things that I was going through, trying to make myself better. It's basically what you can call a healing process. Kind of. It's a healing process. It is a process. However, for me, I kept taking myself out of the process of healing because I wanted to be with him. So anytime you take yourself out of something and reinterject yourself back into the thing that puts you into your healing process in the first place, that's like stupidity, right? But the heart wants what it wants. You can't help who you love, and it's not their fault that you love them. And it's not their fault that they don't love you back. Okay? So anyway, so through all of that, I decided if some of the things that I was doing, I needed that somebody else needs these very same things. So right now I am in the process of doing an actual product launch, and my product was named, formed, and born out of this very painful process. And I guess I've done some growing. And with today's latest news, information, and things I found out today, it's very hard to not put yourself in a box. Meaning, like, I don't want to be bothered. I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to talk about him anymore. I wish him all the best. I'm not mad. Well, that's a lie. I'm mad. I was fucking pissed. I'm mad. But more hurt than anything. And again, a lot of this I brought on myself for not paying attention to those warning signs that I chose to ignore. You know, we ignore things when we wishing and hoping they're going to turn out to be a certain way, or turn out to be something different, or it's how it is that we see things in our own mind, right? So there is a product launch actually coming up, which I'm very proud of. And even though I don't want to talk about him anymore, my story for my product is this story. So that's why I have to tell it when I'm tell the story about how my product came about, because I think it is essential and it's very important. So there is always a way to rechannel emotions that we may have. You know, take the negative and make it into something positive. If you can take your pain and turn it into a profit, that's even better. No. Sorry about that. That's even better. So, what would I say to ladies? Would I advise you to shoot your shot? I would say if you feel like you want to shoot your shot, to do it carefully and not to ignore the warning signs when you know something should be going a certain way and it's not. Or someone should be treating you a certain way and they're not. Don't ignore those warnings. Take all of that to heed. All of that is important. All of it matters. All of it makes a difference in the long run. And above all else, love yourself better and more than you love anybody else except for God. Period. Find a way to put yourself first. Your mind, your mindset, how you think about yourself, how you feel about yourself. Because what I didn't tell you is that through all of that, I lost 25 pounds from working out every day for 12 days. My eating habits have been changed. I regularly use intermittent fasting, which helps me to maintain the weight. Right now, I'm still at the original weight that I lost. I haven't lost any additional weight, but I'm hoping to lose another 20 pounds this summer. And with the news for today, honey, I need to revamp again and take myself back through those processes that got me through all the things that I was feeling before, because with today's news of his engagement, the level of embarrassment, because I felt like a fool, uh, hurt, the level I haven't been on in a very long time, and I wish not to go there again. I actually had to physically leave my house just so I could get it all out of my system. And I've deleted every message, every text, every picture, all of it, because it has to be gone. And you know what's amazing is that he's one of the people that I pray for consistently, and I always pray for him to have healthy relationships, and that his relationships are, positive and all of that. Pray for his finances and all of that. So even in my despair and my sadness tonight, I actually thank God that he is okay and all is well with him. I had to, because it's been part of my prayer. And hey, God answered my prayer, whether I like it or not, right? So, I lost my train of thought. I was getting ready to say something else. Maybe to come back. But, yeah, so even doing this podcast tonight is helping me. I start a new position tomorrow, and a lot of times I don't sleep. Like, I've been sleeping on his side of the bed since March the 16th. That was another fallout date. It's amazing how I remember all of our fallout dates. So I've been sleeping on his side of the bed since then. Tomorrow night, I'm going to start sleeping back on my side of the bed and get myself back into my norm. My norm. Norm for me, without him, have ever been in my life. I told God today, I was like, I want to forget him. I don't want any memories of him. Because that's what I was going to say. And the craziest thing is, like, I always see his name. It drives me nuts. I could be anywhere and see his name on a sign, somewhere written down. It's the same name. It's the name, like, Lord, why am I seeing his name? And especially in the longest times I've had where I'm thinking I'm doing good. I ain't thought about him. I ain't talked about him, whatever. And I'm trying to forget, trying to move on. And bam, see his damn name. And I'm just like, Jesus, why? And it was so prevalent one day. I was like, what is going on? I actually made a post about it on Facebook. And somebody was like, well, you need to reach out to that person. Make sure they're okay. God is trying to tell you something, because I believe in the spirit of discernment. And I'm like, no, because I had reached out to him recently, and, he's been ghosting me. He hadn't been responding. So all of this and all this, like, no, that can't be what it is. So I just decided that the best thing that I could do was to continue to pray for him. And so when I saw him Friday, because I wouldn't look at him. So from what I saw of him Friday, he seemed okay. And then for me to find out today that he's engaged, he's perfectly fine. So let that be that. So yes, just love yourself above all things. I don't give a damn what you're going through. Find a way to love yourself. Find your way to get through any hurt, pain, disappointment, depression. If you have to seek therapy, seek God, talk to your friends, talk it out, cry it out. I had to today. I couldn't hold it. I don't know when is the last time I had the longest, hardest cry. But I have been holding shit in since last year. Honey, I let that shit go today. I don't need the stress of it. I already have high blood pressure. No, thank you. I let that shit go. I had a release today. A release. So I have a big day, big week. I had some new beginnings happening and I need my rest. So that's another reason I needed to get on this podcast and talk it out, right? For anyone who is listening or going through anything, I would love to hear your comments. If you have any additional suggestions for, coping or self-care, I would love to hear them. So you can post your comments on the YouTube or any other station. And just to let everyone know, TME Podcast is now being heard on Spotify, iHeartRadio, and Google Play. So this is Miss Rhonda. This is TME Podcast. Lord, I can't get it right. I'm sorry. TME Podcast, and I will see you at the top. Good night.